my project is feedback on second language writing students. It's focused on feedback on the specific group who's second language students or an international student. So the purpose of this feedback, of this research, to know the students' perspective about feedback, also to know the teacher's perspective about the feedback. The goal of this poster or study to know how the teachers can use their feedback effectively by asking the participants, which are the students, many questions, 20 questions, and I posted here the most important 3 questions. The first one, which is which form do they like, written feedback or oral feedback, or combination written and oral feedback, and most of the international students struggle with the second one, oral feedback, because the novice learner, they struggle with their teacher, especially in the first time when they came here. They couldn't understand the teacher perfectly, but because their ability of understanding English language. The second question is how often do you like to get feedback? Most of them often get feedback, which is 52% they receive the feedback. And the third question, which I think the important question, when is the written process should feedback on the writing assignment? Most of the students chose the middle one, which is before the assignment is due, because what I think, from my perspective, in this area, if the teachers give the student feedback, the students exactly follow every single feedback in their assignment. But most of them, they didn't prepare the last one because they already got the score for that. And for the students who want to learn, they will look at that feedback. But another group of students, they will ignore the whole feedback. The implication for the whole this study, which is feedback is an essential element in the learning process, and teachers should be more attention about giving feedback effectively, because most of the students, they find that feedback help them to learn more about that specific course. And the third one, feedback enables the teachers to minimize the gap that become between the lessons and the students, because they miss something in that lesson. That feedback will complement the gaps that missed in the original lesson. So that's the whole things about my study about feedback and second language writing students.
How many students, how many participants were there?
There are more 30, right? There are more 30 right now, and they did the whole survey, the whole question, and the right suggestion and another answers for this question, but we don't have space to post that results. So there are many of teachers participants here. The next step for this study, we will prepare PowerPoints and brochures for the international, the English IAP program teachers, to give them these results to consider it through their teaching second language learner. So we'll provide it to IEP program, and also we will give a brochure to writing centers member and the teachers who teach COM1 and COM2 that have international students in their classes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Very good.
Okay, so what I did for my project is I looked at to see if self-esteem can be improved if art therapy was used with the geriatrics population. It's a really important topic because art therapy really isn't utilized in mandala your life. So put everything that's important to you in this mandala. The second one was a timeline, so different events that have occurred in your life. And then the last one was an affirmation cube, so things that you believe positively about yourself, or like things that you want to improve or want to believe about yourself that are positive. Something I was not anticipating, I designed this study for typical functioning geriatrics patients, and every one of mine had dementia. So yes, so that's something I did not prepare for. So my evaluation scale, I used the Rosenberg self-esteem scale to see if it was improving, but a lot of them were really confused by the questioning and the rating scale. So my results there weren't very valid because a lot of them were confused by the questioning. But from an observational standpoint, I could see that they were much happier after they did the directives. You could see their improved awareness of who was around them. They involved themselves in more conversations with the group and with conversations with me, and were just very excited to talk about their lives through the art directives. So if I were to do it again, I would definitely have a different evaluation scale and stuff that's more targeted towards dementia, and also evaluate to see if they have dementia beforehand. But yeah, it was very interesting, and I learned a lot, especially about Alzheimer's and dementia. So yeah, that is mine. Yep.
You're showing the rotation of basically night and day. Why is night and night and why is day?
Fantastic. Hi, I'm Diane Nutt-Brown. I'm an assistant professor of chemistry here at Emporia State University.
And I'm Megan Mahoney, the lifelong learning librarian in the William Allen White Libraries and Archives, and liaison to the Physical Sciences Department.
And today we are participating in Research and Creativity Day's poster session to present about service learning impacts on students who are participating in our Honors Chemistry 2 class. So last spring was the first implementation of this seminar. We had 10 students who were split between the two sections for Chemistry 2 who met then together once a week in order to work on a community-based research civic engagement project. These students developed their own ideas for what they were going to investigate. Ultimately, they divided into 3 areas: air, soil, and water, and some environmental contaminants. So for the first group, they were doing radon testing in homes in the Emporia area, testing a hypothesis that maybe older homes would have more radon in their basements. The soil group had collected samples from a variety of farms in the region, and then they also had control for positive control, like potting soil, and then some sand as a negative control. And they were looking at nutrient levels as well as how well those soils grew radishes and the potassium content of those radishes. So the farming practices varied among the different farmers as to whether they used ammonia, fertilizer, if they had till or no-till, if they had cover crops. And ultimately, in the end, there was no significant difference between those who tilled and those who did not. So one of the farmers is actually changing his practice now to become no-till as a result of their project. And then finally, there was another group that looked at potential fertilizer runoff in the Cottonwood and Neosho rivers, and they presented their work at Research and Creativity Day last year, all 3 groups. And so instead of just having this course and feeling good about the students' work, we wanted to actually research whether their participation had any impact on service learning outcomes. So we collaborated with Megan Mahoney and Claudia Aguirre, who is our science education faculty member in the Department of Physical Sciences, and they did a research study in which we had pre and post interviews, observations, and such, and I'm going to let Megan tell you more about those results.
So we took the data that we collected, loaded it into qualitative analysis software, and coded it at 3 different levels according to this matrix by Gelman, and where they define 10 variables for assessing the impact of service learning on students, along with several indicators for each variable. We compared pre and post data for both groups as well as across groups, and we found that the 2 groups of students were very similar in the beginning. They were all freshmen, so they were pretty new to Emporia. They didn't know a lot about the community. Most of them had career plans. They had all done service learning before or community work before. But post data indicated that the control group did not have significant learning gains in any of our 3 areas of knowledge of community, career, or awareness. But the honors group did. They had gains in terms of leadership skills as a team as opposed to individuals, so that's part of the career dimension. They knew more about Emporia as a community, the people in it, kind of what goes on is agricultural, kind of what the people do, and then their awareness of themselves as academics and what they're able to accomplish with enough planning and determination. So we were very pleased with these outcomes.
And if you'd like to learn more about Honors Chemistry 2 projects, you may have already interviewed our students from this year who are working on nicotine contamination in soils on campus, because we're going to be going to a tobacco-free policy in the fall. And so we're getting some baseline data about that potential contamination. And then also the John Redmond Reservoir was recently dredged within the past year to remove sediment buildup in order to increase its holding capacity. And now citizens of Burlington, Kansas are complaining of a cucumber smell and earthy taste for their water, which may be coming from a particular organic contaminant that may be a result of some algae. And so we have a group that's trying to investigate whether in fact that contaminant is in the water and where its source would be, so that Burlington can ultimately remedy that situation.
My project over Dr. Bruce Moon, who is an artist, educator, and advocate in the field of art therapy. And he's been around for many, many years, and currently he's at the retirement stage of his career. And last semester, I was actually able to interview Dr. Moon as a part of a foundational program here at Florida State University. And he was kind enough to respond to me, and this is my project dictating our whole conversation about the history of art therapy, his process of existential art therapy and open studio method, and his life and work in the field of art therapy. So,
What was your inspiration for this?
it was mainly based off of a class project, but I had heard of Dr. Moon before, and I knew he was an influential male in the field of art therapy, which is heavily populated with women art therapists. And so I really wanted to get his perspective on it and his open studio approach, which I really find innovative, and which really brought along the profession. So, yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, so I did the effects of photographic self-portraits on college students' self-perception. So basically what this was is I turned taking self-portraits through photographs into an art therapy directive. And so I did a pre and a post test. I had the students fill out a questionnaire that really kind of gave a pretty good idea about how they perceive themselves and kind of what their strengths and weaknesses were. And then I had them create a self-portrait of themselves. And this can be done by either having someone else take the photo of you and you set up the photo yourself, or you could take the photo yourself. And I asked them to kind of put, really just to portray who they were in the photograph. And then I had the participants come in and discuss the photograph with me. And so I asked them some questions just kind of about just the influences that went into the creating of the photograph. And afterwards I had them refill out the questionnaire. And I found that a lot of their self-perceptions actually were clear after they had to take the photograph and process it with me. The first participant really, he kind of scaled himself pretty low academically on his first questionnaire, and then after we talked about the photograph, he said that he placed himself specifically to show that he was really into academia, and that was something that he prided himself in. And then he retook the survey, and he actually scored himself a lot higher on it, which is pretty cool that just the self-reflection helped him identify some of his strengths. And that was pretty common with the second and the third participant too. So really overall, it was just showing that self-exploration is something that's really important for college students to do. This is a really, I think, a time that people are searching for themselves, and so I think with a little bit of art therapy or counseling, it can really help people get there faster, I think, a little bit simpler.
Any future use or study down the road that could come from this?
That could come from this? Yeah, so this was pretty much a pilot study that I did. I am going to be doing my master's project next semester, and so I'm hoping to, I'm not sure if I'm going to do an actual study with it or just turn it into a project to where I go in and I do a workshop and have people create their own self-portraits and kind of explore through that. And I'll probably do that in a psychiatric facility, maybe a little bit younger population, probably like 16 or 17. So.
This project is for my Intro to Second Language Writing class, where we talk about L2 writers, which are writers that do not speak English as a first language. And I focused on the ways that teachers or professors give feedback to the students, whether it be like surface errors or like on their structure or their style of their papers. And I took a survey of 100 Emporia State students, both L2 and L1 writers, which is native language speakers. And I just kind of displayed my questions that I asked them and my feedback that I received on it. I asked them how they would like their feedback to be received or presented to them, and most of them would just really like written and spoken feedback, so giving them their paper with like the correct markings and comments, but also getting a verbal explanation as to why they were corrected on such things. One of the most surprising results that I received was how the 100 students felt about peer review, because down here it was basically an even split about if they felt indifferent or if they thought it was helpful or if they just do not prefer it at all. I'm one of those that do not prefer peer review. And I also focused on how feedback is actually controversial, because all teachers want something different and all teachers have their own pedagogies as to how feedback should be presented to their students. So just a couple of things about that is like, should they focus on smaller or larger categories? So should they only focus on the surface errors in their grammar, spelling, or should they focus on the big picture as a whole? Like what I was surprised about, what I wasn't surprised about, basically. I wasn't surprised that most students would prefer their professors to give them an even balance of feedback on their grammatical errors and their structure and style, just because usually professors have a tendency to give one or the other, and they'll even put on their rubrics or they'll stress that spelling and grammar is really important. And so the students will probably be focused more on that rather than the style of their paper or the structure or how they want it. And also there's the idea that all teachers want something different, so it's kind of like the students have to cater to every professor. The reason why I was really surprised about the peer review is because I've heard a lot of people talking about how they dread peer review days in school, just because it's a little nerve-wracking and it can cause a lot of anxiety for students to talk to somebody else rather than the professor about their work. Probably because just their peers, one might do better than the other or be seen as that way. And I've never really heard a lot of positivity for peer review. And it also just depends on the way it's done, because there are a lot of ways to present peer review, but I've always had that experience where you're in the classroom and you just pass your paper along and they write notes, or they just usually focus on one aspect or another and they don't give even feedback.
Hi, I'm Ashley Lawrence, and this is Imaginary Worlds in Art Therapy, Active Imagination and Self-Representation in Fan Art. This is actually a research project proposal. It hasn't been approved yet. I hope to come back next year with it approved and with results, but this is what the basis of it is. So I would like to perform these art directives at a comic book convention, because I think that's a good population for this research. It's basically identifying favorite worlds, fictional worlds, and how we use them and how they can be beneficial in a therapeutic setting. So the first prompt is draw a representation of a favorite fictional place from popular media. So that could be books, movies, TV shows, video games, anything that you're very interested in and that you identify as a favorite. You draw that world and you draw that place, and you can identify favorite characters, you know, specific interests, that what drew you to the show, medium. Then, in the second prompt, you reflect on a time of difficulty or conflict in your own life, and you take you from that moment in time, it can be now or it can be in the past, and you take you from that moment and put it in the fictional world. So you're removing yourself into this setting. And then I ask you questions about how that changes the conflict, how it affects your control over the conflict, and how you feel about it. The third one is draw an imaginative world of your own design. So this is like a safe processing place. So it could be anywhere from a favorite childhood memory, or like I'm stuck at the office all day, I wish I'd rather be at the beach. So I imagine myself at that beach. So I had a friend who graciously helped me do a rough run of this. So what she identified as her favorite show was Friends, and she identified her favorite character as Phoebe. I think the character identification tells a lot about your personality. That's one of the therapeutic goals I'm trying to address is character identification. So that means both the favorite character and the participant themselves. The second one, she identified a conflict with her parents that she was struggling with. A decision, and it was causing a lot of tension in her life right now, actually. So she removed that conflict and put it into this world, and she said she liked this world because of the support it offered her. And if she wasn't in this world, she would feel more confident about addressing that issue, and she would feel like she would have more support from her family. So, and in the third world, she drew a mountainous region that she identified that she had used previously in times of stress, like she would paint it or she would reflect on it, and it would usually make her feel better. So the idea is that we do character identification, we explore the conflict through visual narratives, and then we do safe place processing, so that once a participant is outside of the setting, they still have a place that they can retreat to, some place that they can help deal with their stress. So I hope that this can prove as a useful assessment for like initial entry sessions with a new client, help identify some of their issues, some of their strengths, and hopefully give them some comfort and security about what they can do in times of struggle. And I would like to make it available to different kinds of populations, people dealing with depression, anxiety, people on the autism spectrum. I hope that it can be useful in multiple ways. I don't know if we're certain when it will be approved. My deadline is in a few weeks. I will pass a final draft by my teacher, and if she approves it, then she will go ahead and forward it to the IRB board, and then I will hear from them. I hope within the next year I get to pick out a comic book convention that I can go to and set this up at and do this. So.
Well, this is a year-long mathematics enrichment program for middle school students. This is a new program we started last year, and we begin with a 4-day summer camp. So we have 16 students attending the summer camp, and after the summer, it becomes after-school club in Employer Middle School. So the students meet after school on Tuesday, and then we have a repeated session on every Wednesday morning. Because sometimes the students, they cannot attend the clubs on Tuesday because of time conflict, so they attend on Wednesday morning. And we sometimes invited the speakers from the other universities or colleges in Kansas. Like this is one professor from KU, and this is a professor from Washburn University, and we have another one coming tomorrow from Pittsburgh State. So they give the talks about mathematics and how to apply it to the different areas. Like the professor tomorrow will talk about the music and the mathematics, and he talks about mathematics and some board games, and he talks about mathematics and some sequences. And we also have the field trips. Like this, probably 2 weeks ago, we took the students to the K-State Open House Day. So they participated in a mathematics competition in the morning, and afterward we visited a lot of different departments, like the food departments, the engineering departments, and that way they can see what are the career options looks like for them. Yeah. So this is sponsored by 2 external grants, and also the dean of our college contributed, and the middle school contribute to the program. So that makes the whole program, I think, is really going well this whole year. And we already received the grant renewed for the next year, and we're going to keep doing another summer camp the 3rd week of July this year, and then after that we're going to continue to the fall and to the spring. Yeah. So the kids here, they are, generally speaking, I think those are the top students in Park Middle School. So they are either, most of them either in gifted programs, or they taking some accelerated math courses. Yes. So we're trying to offer, the idea is we do not have anything like this before. In the math department, we have a lot of outreach programs, but those outreach programs targeted for underrepresented students. And this is, I think the first one also is the year-long, not just like for a few days or for a few weeks. So it's throughout the whole year. So this is the first one, I think, for any student who are good at mathematics who want to take more opportunities beyond the regular classrooms. Yeah, that's the whole idea for this project. Before we started this, I want to mention we did a survey in the middle school in the January of 2016, and I think about 80 students indicated a strong interest in participating something like this. So we get something around 20 students for the first year. Yeah, that's probably how many we can support. This program is completely free. The summer program, they got the free supplies, they got the free breakfast, and the regular semesters, we have the free field trip, and all the things are free to the students and their families. Yeah. So as long as they're interested and they're motivated, we accept them. Yeah. So that's what the project is about. Yeah, inspired by math. Any plans to take them outside and further? Well, this picture is taken at the K-State. So we got a field trip in K-State in, I think somewhere in April. They had the open house day, and I think for next year, there are a couple of things we're thinking. So first, we constantly evaluate how their feedback on the activities. So we evaluate every single activities we did. We evaluate invited presentations. So we're making the change. We're going to do something like maybe a 3D printing project next year. We're going to do some other like math games next year. And I think we will either go back to the K-State at the open house day next year, or maybe go to the KU next year, but probably one of these 2 universities. Yeah, actually tomorrow I'm going to go to KU for a conference. I'm going to talk to the faculty members at KU, see if they have something in the spring. So if they have something in the spring, we need to think about whether we go back to the K-State or we will go to the KU for next year. Yeah, so these are the, and also another thing we have not done, but we're thinking is we have some connections with the similar program in Oklahoma. Yeah, so we may invite the teachers from Oklahoma to come to here to teach in our circle, or the other possibilities to take our kids to Oklahoma to participate in their program. Yeah, that's another possibility. Yeah, so it's a new program, so obviously we're still learning how to do the things and how to improve the quality of the program. Yeah, so this is the first year, but I feel like we have a good solid start off for the first year. We have a good number of students, and we have good speakers. All the speakers we invited are the teaching award winners. Like Jeremy Martin got several teaching awards at the KU, and Jennifer Wagner got several teaching awards at Washburn University. Brian Hollenbeck, he got the teaching award at our college, and he also got the teaching award at the state level. Yeah, and tomorrow the speaker is also a teaching award winner. So they are probably the best mathematics educators we can get in the state of Kansas. Yeah. So and Ms. Laura Albertson, she is the after-school program director at the middle school, and so she is she graduated from the biology department. And Mr. Tato is a 7th grade math teacher, so he graduated from our department. So these are the ESU alumni. So they are very interested in working with our current students. Candice Miller is a math education major currently in the department, and Ryan Freire, the student there, he is the graduate student. Yeah, so we're trying to engage them into the teaching to the middle school students. That way they also serve as role models for the younger kids. So they could see like what a college students or graduate school student look like, and they share their experience not only mathematics, but like Ryan is going to attend the KU PhD program next year, and Candice I think is one of the best students I have seen in the math program in recent years. So they can share their passion with the middle school students. I think the middle school students, they're at a very crucial age, so they form their opinions about mathematics. If they like mathematics, doing more, and I think maybe they will likely to take more classes in the high school and choose a career toward maybe the mathematics, engineering, or science, right? And so we're trying to communicate and observe the long-term effect of the program, because we only have one middle school here, one high school here. So when the kids go to the high school, we want to see whether they're doing well in the high school in mathematics. When it comes to their senior year, to select the colleges and majors for college, and we want to know whether this program in middle school has any influence on their future choices. Yeah, that's some long-term evaluation. We're going to follow up on that. Yeah. So that's the idea.
Interesting to find out.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think so far, they are doing really well. Last of November is the first time in the history of Empire Middle School we got 20 students took this national called the AMC8 contest. It's a national level mathematics competition. Usually around 150,000 students in North America, middle school students, took that competition. And I think the EMS never had students participate. Last year was the first year we got 20 students participate, and there are a couple of students did really well. One student finished in the national top 5%. So that's really very, very good score. And this year when we go to the K-State in April, we got 4 students. Theirs was in the math department of K-State. They have a mathematics competition in the morning. So I think we had like around 16 students took that competition, and 4 got awards. Yeah, so I think that's really good. And a couple of students, they already took the ACT test. Yeah, they already took ACT test. I think at least 3 students got the ACT at 25 or above. Yeah, and the highest ones probably got 30. Yeah, so those are, I think the evidence the students are doing really well, and then they hopefully they got something, learned some more mathematics from our program here. Yeah, so we like to see that keep happening. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, traction is a modality that we use to decompress the spinal vertebra. People who have desk jobs or bad posture or even nerve impingement problems can benefit from this. Traction is used to decompress the vertebrae, allowing the cerebral spinal fluid to rejuvenate the disc, allowing for a better cushion between the vertebrae. There's a couple different kinds of traction that are used. We have inversion tables that are more of a long period of time where you just lay at a certain angle and gravity works with you. There's cervical traction machines that you're allowed to pump pressure into, which then raises the head up, straightening out your cervical spine. Then they have lumbar traction tables. Each patient is different from the results of it, and some people may not feel like it benefits them. Kind of just depends on the injury and what their condition is. What was your inspiration for this? Well, in the future, I'd like to work with geriatric people in a geriatric setting as a physical therapist. So it's important to me they get older. So I feel like if we can use traction at a younger age, then in the future they won't struggle as much with back problems or like herniated discs, anything like that.
So I was looking at collecting touch DNA from different surfaces and looking at different detergents to see if they can recover more DNA than water from different swabbing surfaces. So I'm in the forensic sciences program. So when DNA is collected from a crime scene, like from an object that they think somebody's touched, they typically just use water to swab up that DNA and then recover that DNA later from the laboratory. But there hasn't really been any research done on if there's a different alternative to water that might be able to get more DNA so they can get better profiles from suspects and from victims. So I looked at 6 different detergents and compared them to water. I deposited my own fingerprints and then swabbed that DNA and then used qPCR to quantitate how much DNA I was getting out. From the fingerprints, I used microscope slides, and I didn't find any significant difference between the water and the different solutions that I looked at. So then I went on to a second study where I looked at straws and popsicle sticks to see if there was a rough versus smooth difference between the solutions that I was looking at. And I did find 2 different solutions for the smooth surfaces that did get more DNA than water. So this research, if it were applied in a crime lab or a crime scene investigation team, might be able to use this information to help collect more DNA from objects at a crime scene. I'm in the biology section of forensic science, and I'm really interested in DNA. And I just came across this paper that had done kind of a similar study, and I wanted to see if I could replicate the results that they had gotten. And the results that I got were actually very different from what they had got in that study. So I kind of wanted to help shed light on the fact that just because there's one paper out there that says one thing doesn't mean there's not other data that can contradict what's already been found for them. So that was kind of my basis for why I chose this one.
Hi, my name is Alam. I am a graduate student in English department. My project is about the challenges of multilingual writers from Arab countries at Florida State University. I create a survey about the challenges they are facing. So I collect the data, responses, which is 59, and a large number of participants indicate they are having difficulties while they are writing in English. As you can see, the word and pronunciation, writing, choice, structure, and the vocabulary is the high concern in that amount of the survey, and also developing an argument. As I ask them why they are having difficulties, they says the weak foundation of writing, about their background, and also the teacher low proficiency to teach them how to write in that field. And also I did an interview with Dr. Ed about the writing and also the course they are taking called scientific writing. And he said most of his students and her students face difficulties while they're writing in English. And he said like writing about scientific field is not the same as writing in other fields. So students when they come to his class, they are lack of preparation in that field. So after that, we recommend technical writing or writing across the curriculum to be embedded in Florida State University in order to support those students in needs. And yeah, even just not for international students, also even for American, this program would work well. So
the problems. If you had to rate those, like the biggest problem to the smallest problem, are they all about the flow, or is there one that
they are having a need, you mean? Yeah, I think the main problem is the weak foundation in how to write, and also the absence of writing in a society. So when students they come here,
English, so when they come here, as a result, they will face difficulties in regard to writing, because speaking is easier to communicate, people can understand, but when they are to write, they cannot express their idea clearly.